Hello and welcome back to Model Maker Dave's workshop. And as you can tell by the pot of gunk that is on the bench, we've been doing some paint stripping, and this will be part 2 of a series of possibly 3 or maybe 4 short videos on stripping paint off old models. So I've left this piece in because it had some residue left on it after I cleaned it up. And looking at it, I think actually once I finish recording this, I might even do a pause and go and give this a clean and see what it comes up. So I'm going to pause and I shall be back. Right, I'm back. Now the 2 parts that I've just taken out of this pot of disgusting gunk, I've now cleaned up. Lovely. There's not a trace of any kind of paint on that part or on this one. I think this one might have slightly discoloured, but I'm not overly all that bothered because it's going to get painted, so no one's going to be none the wiser. So using brown Dettol, as in this stuff here, leaving it for 12 or 24 hours certainly does work. Now, what I'm going to try and do now is pour that into here so that it strains through the piece of tissue that I've got on here. I'd like something that could hold that off a little bit. Right, I'm going to pause again and I'll be back in a minute. And we're back in the room. Right, I found an old Tamiya diorama paint jar that I've pulled a bit of the label off just so we can see what that looks like after it's been through the piece of tissue, because it sits in there and it doesn't actually touch the bottom. So, oh well, as they say, nothing ventured, nothing found out. So pour all that in there. We leave that. And again, I'm going to pause. Right, I'm back for a minute. So, this is what we've got after the first filtering through a piece of ordinary paper tissue. All I did on this end was literally just put the tissue on there. This time I've doubled it over so it's twice the thickness, so hopefully when we do it this time it might get a bit more out of it. So in we go again. Hold that up so that it, as you can hear it running through. If anyone's got a sensitive bladder, they're being tortured by now. And I'm not going to stop. No, we'll leave that. So, but we'll come on to this bit. This is the tissue that was used on the first one, and as you can see, as he pulls up the tissue, hopefully, you can see it's actually caught quite a lot of the crud and the shite that was in there. So tissue works just as well, and quite frankly, as I don't have a wife or I don't have a girlfriend, pulling a pair of tights from thin air is going to make me look a bit suspicious. So we'll not go any further on that one. So we'll get rid of that. So let's see. Last of the few drips going through. And put that in there for now. It's getting cleaner, I think, he says with some hope. For the second run through, that is looking a bit cleaner. I don't think it will ever be as clean. We'll try it once more. Let me get another tissue. And this time what I'll do is I'll fold it in so that there's, so it's folded in 4. Let's get rid of that. So it is taking more out, so we'll bin that. My bin will smell lovely. Disinfectant, it won't kill you. Probably won't do much good as it goes through your guts, but it'll be nice and clean afterwards. Right, let's put that on. And we'll have another go. And see what happens this time. When it goes through 4 layers of tissue. Right, so here we go. Put it over a bit so you can see what's going on. Right. Right. Well, I think I'm going to pause it and leave it and let it do its thing while I make a cup of tea. So I shall be back shortly. Back in the room again. So here we go. And see what it's like this time. And I think, to be honest with you, looking at that, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but let's pour it in here and then hopefully you should see that, in all honesty, that is, it's not as clean as it was when it was first poured, but there's no bits of paint and crud and shite in there. So I'm pretty happy with that result. that works for me. It works for me on getting the paint off without having to use anything too aggressive or really obnoxiously stinky. The smell of disinfectant is nothing really. So I think on that note, for this particular video, I think I'm going to say that's it. That's all you need to do, is put your parts in disinfectant and pretty much leave it overnight. I think you might be alright around about 12 hours. You might not. It all depends on what paint you've used. If it's an acrylic, you'll probably be alright after about 12 hours. If it's an enamel or a lacquer or something like that, you might need to leave it for 24 hours. You may even need to soak it 1 or 2 times, even after cleaning it off with a toothbrush. So yeah, so long as you get the brown ordinary Dettol, none of the sweet smelling ones, you'll be fine. So thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me through the pauses to clean up and go again. And it just remains for me to say I will see you in the next one.